So, Natalie and Anna here to give you an inside look into some of the new information that is on our database. As much as I am sure you love long, detailed bullet point emails, we thought it might be fun to actually do a live tour so that you could see some of the new features and hear some of the things that we've been hearing from folks and ways that you can use this to the best use in your county. So we're going to start with right from the login page. And for us as existing users, we're just going to log in with our email password at tennessee.edu. Often is the best way to do that. But we want to focus on how new users, like your new interns that are registering right now, would get into this site. So the first thing that they are going to need to do is click on this register as a new user. And of course, as it has been in the past, the crucial elements to enable them to register are going to be in Super as a volunteer, level 1, 2, or 3, having a valid email, and being in an MG club. So you've done that background work. They're going to put the email that they give you, and that is in Super. Then they're going to make up a password, and then they are going to confirm that password. So then they're going to hit this register button, and what is going to pop up is a screen that says, check your email, because there are essential security measures that have to confirm that they can really access that email. So that's a little bit about the registration process. I'm going to go ahead and log in as myself, and Anna can tell me if I forgot anything important there. All right, so we're going to give you a little bit of a tour, and of course, this is my admin profile, so most all of this are going to be things that you are going to see every once in a while. There might be some system administrator thing, but almost all of this is exactly what agents are going to see. So of course, our homepage, not very exciting because we're not volunteers, but for the volunteers, this is going to be their year to date dashboard. And so, of course, you can see project, reporting, and all of those crucial things. Then on the projects page, of course, volunteers are going to have the ability to log their own project hours, and you as an admin or people that you have added as a volunteer administrator are going to have the opportunity to also do some editing. This is an existing capacity, but one that we've really found useful for our programs. Then we have the CEU, and of course, once again, volunteers are mainly going to see this log CEU hours, but as administrators, you or your volunteer designee will have the ability to make some of those changes for other folks. So here on this county tab, now we get to some of the really important and most commonly used features. Now, the county roster is, of course, what volunteers see. I am actually currently in Sumner County, so you can see, and this is the thing that enables folks to find the contact information from all of their other folks. Of course, county reports enable you to run those year-end reports or mid-year reports. And now we get to county admin roster, which is, of course, where the rubber really meets the road. And I'm going to hit See Roster. And sometimes there's some thinking involved in this process, especially for the larger counties that have a lot of people on there. One important thing that I wanted to say is it is going to default to show active, which is handy because that limits the number of profiles that it's pulling up. But this is not your entire roster. This is your active. So if there's somebody that you can't find there, then by all means, you can go up and change that to unknown, all. Sometimes I'll just sort for all if there's somebody that I really don't know what's going on with their user. So you can see here we have this very familiar year-to-date roster. Of course, we can change this, and we have a very easy download to Excel button. So the other really important things that are huge advances are this edit button comes up as a pop-up box. And when you edit and save that, then it takes you back to the same place on the page that it used to be, and you don't have to do all that unloading. And we also have these happy pop-up boxes that make sure that they confirm for you the processes that were done. All right, Anna, did I forget anything?
That's good. I will just say that on the homepage now, your volunteers have the option to have a nice little pop-up box just like that for their projects and CEUs. So instead of having to go to the project tab or CEU tab, on that year-to-date dashboard on the homepage, there's little buttons to the side that just make a quick little pop-up, just like you just had a second ago on that roster. So trying to make this a little bit more streamlined for them. So there's two ways for them to go about that. Neither is wrong.
Right, yes. More than one way to get to the same place. And the individual report, this is something that you're used to being able to access for individual volunteers. Project participation is actually a location where you can look at which individual volunteers are volunteering for specific projects. Category data is probably more me, but it allows you to look at those broad categories for the different types of projects. The other thing that I'll go ahead and make sure that we pull up is this county info. And so you can see there's Seth in Anderson County. And it's really important to make sure that this mailing address information is correct, because this is going to be the mailing address information that gets sent to our badge engraver in Murfreesboro. So if we have any mailing issues related to badges and that order process, it's often an issue of the address not being correct there. So I think that's the main overview of the county tab. Lots of good things that have been added there. This handbook tab, we don't really need to say much about. This has been something that has been there for a while, and this accesses those Adobe Reader online versions of the handbook. Of course, everybody has their printed version, but this is here as well.
Happen to need an accessible version that a screen reader can access, just let me know. We have that. It's just not in a form that's like open to everybody. So just let me know if any of your folks need that more accessible version.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So those Adobe files are pretty. They're all in color, but not screen reader accessible. But we have HTML versions if you need them, or if one of your volunteers lets you know that they do. Okay, so lots of important things on this admin screen. Some of the ones that are familiar to folks are, of course, going to be the supplies, dashboard, all of the supplies that you need except for the hour, 100 hour, 200, 300 hour pins are on here. Those are still email to me, but hopefully we'll get those added on here soon. Then you can manage projects. The service award history allows you to look up individual people and see what they have been awarded. There's also a listing here on the service history. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to those service histories, is that because that wasn't a key functionality that the previous databases had, these service histories are more a record keeping system kind of from here forward. So there is absolutely no promise that the information there is correct, but they are a template where you can bring in, say, your spreadsheet information or some of those award histories that you have in other sources to update what you have here. A few other important points that have been added over the last couple of years. This allows you to see who has accepted, or in this case, people who have not yet accepted the MOU, which is the individual volunteer saying, yes, all of these volunteerism guidelines of the University of Tennessee and my conduct and all that kind of stuff, I agree to them. So you can see that listing there. Then we have an important update volunteer button. And this would be the spot where if you needed to facilitate a transfer. Now, the transfer paperwork involves both of the agents and communication other than this. But this is the final step, which would allow you to, properly transfer that person. Once again, for transfers, we're going to leave the trained in, of course, where it is, but then their Master Gardener County, that's what you would change if somebody was transferring in or out of your group. Another really important feature that was actually not available to everybody in the last database, and we're really glad that this is something that now you, as the agents, have the ability to do, is to adjust user roles. So we'll just pick Anderson here. We'll use Seth and his crew as our easy to access demos. They're pretty used to that. And so you're going to be able to pull up each of your volunteers and see that as a baseline, everybody is going to be added as a Master Gardener volunteer. And every new person that registers is going to be added as an intern. So those are kind of the baseline functionality. But say you have a volunteer that is going to be helping you with the intern training. Well, you can click this training facilitator, then they will get access to intern training materials. Or maybe they're a project leader and you want them to be able to do some project updating and that sorts of things. Or maybe they're the volunteer manager and you want them to be able to see the admin roster and add in hours for other people. Maybe as I'm rolling through these, you're thinking, what exactly do all of these roles do? Oh, well, we have a handy list here that gives you kind of the key attributes of those different roles. In the future, you'll be able to, pull a list of different users and different roles. Right now, this is loading kind of slowly, so don't get frustrated if it gets hung up. But the simplest way to look at these are going to be to pull up that individual volunteer and check those. All right. The other thing that is really an important update that has just been added over the last few days is this Super MG's volunteer dashboard list. And so this is kind of that crucial, we'll call it the waiting room type of feature that we talked about a little bit on our last coordinator meeting. This is a way for you as the agent to both, see your current volunteers that are registered clearly, but more importantly, be able to make sure that a new intern is ready to register in the Master Gardener database. So anybody that shows up on this roster, it means that they are a volunteer in Super, having either level 1, 2, or 3, and have been added to an MG club. So your current interns, this would be a really easy way to check, type them in, make sure that their name comes up here, because as long as they are on this Super MG roster, then that means you added them correctly in Super, and the pull that enables them to register into the database has occurred. If they don't come up on this roster, that means it's been longer than a couple of days and that pull hasn't taken place, or there may be some problems with their Super registration. So if they don't come up, that would be the signal to go in, look at Super, make sure there's an email, make sure they're a legal volunteer with 1, 2, or 3 level, make sure they're in an MG club. Now, of course, this is my admin side of this, and so I have 6,386 people that pop up on this roster, but you will default to your county. And so that will make the processes faster. You won't have as many people to slide through. So this is kind of the one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind kind of a table that really helps us make sure that we can divide between, Super things that may not be done on our side, or, volunteers struggling with their confirmation emails on their side. So I think that's the tour of Admin Home. Do you want to throw anything else in there, Anna, before we move ahead?
I think that covers it. I'm just really excited about this waiting room thing because that'll really give agents the peace of mind that everything in Super is done and ready for their volunteers to do their registration. So I'm so excited for us to have that.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is something that we can really get confirmation and not just have to hope that all of the behind the scenes things are working. Now, on the intern training tab, this is going to be one of those things that shows up a bit differently for me than it does for you, because for you coordinators right now, if you are doing intern training, then it will just pop up to either asynchronous or synchronous, depending upon which one you are doing. So I'll just click on one of those. And so for all of our synchronous counties, this is what would pop up. For our asynchronous counties, it would be Genially, but it would kind of be that homepage with the, different weeks displayed. So if you are a coordinator that's not doing a training this year, then nothing will come up when you hit the intern training button. So that's just all on the county side of things, and those are set up depending upon which one you have selected.
And I'll add that for synchronous, after this like first full week gets concluded, your folks will automatically see the home page instead of this tutorial. But since we have all this coordinated time, I wanted them to be introduced to how to use the program from the get-go. So they'll see this like tutorial first, and then after a few days, it'll just go to the homepage normally for them once they kind of get into the course. Now, asynchronous, your folks have a start here button on the homepage that will walk them through this exact same tutorial. So all of your folks will get the orientation to the site, and from the tech side that they need, they just get there a little bit differently, but they can also always access it again by using that little question mark at the bottom there. So if they ever forget what any of it means or how to navigate it, there is a help button for them. So
yeah, and we're really excited about the use of Genially in our training. So once again, everybody new that comes into the database will be an intern with access to whichever training you selected. But if somebody says they can't see intern training, you can just go back to the user role, make sure they're listed as an intern. So that's something that you can fix very, very quickly. And this final button here is brand new. And I am going to let Anna lead this charge because this is all her. So whole new stuff.
Okay, so this tab is just everything that you need as the coordinator to do all the things, not just intern training, but it gives you information about those roles and the status updates of like intern versus certified, all those different things we've covered. There's more information and instructions in these. There are links to forms and templates for certificates and awards. There's information about what counts as a project versus a CEU. All that information is in here for you. And on that original page, when this video is done, when we get done recording this, I'll even put it here for you. So yeah, there's stuff for new coordinators. So hey, when you're new, we don't really know what the heck is going on. This is a good place to start with these 4 little buttons here. And even experienced agents, if you're coming in, you're just feeling like my group is a little lost, that Tuckman's development stages is so helpful to figure out where your group is mentally as a group. And then of course, intern training is a big lift. So there are a lot of links here, but it's things that you need to really do this really well. So that first link there is to a guide to training. This is like step by step, 3 months out from training, what you need to be doing, 2 months out, a month out, 2 weeks out, to help you pace your work and not have any like panics like the week before of like, oh my gosh, I haven't ordered books or it snowed, I ordered them, but they're not here. So we don't want that. And so this will give you a really good paced guideline to how to even do intern training from the very beginning of announcing your applications are open. That also includes application templates. So that's all there. The facilitator's role is a publication that is at Marketing and Communications right now, but that's a draft of it and just like an overview of what our roles are. Of course, the facilitation guide goes hands-on activities, the associated materials there below it. New this year is the intern workbook. It's kind of like the intern version of your facilitator's guide. And then there is a whole guide about registration and access, the things that Natalie and I just talked about. There's a sample module. So if you want to see like what the modules are like for intern training without going through like the actual stuff, that's a little sample tutorial template one. But also a materials list that goes along with those hands-on activities. And then frequently asked questions. Those are ones that interns tend to ask for each topic area. So you might want to have those handy, especially if you're a newer agent, because your interns will hit you with questions sometimes that you're just like, how did you even arrive at that? But it may not be an original experience. And so it is documented right here from several years worth of intern training. So definitely keep that handy as a coordinator.
All right. So that is an overview of all of the awesome resources, both things that are familiar and brand new things that are now available on our Master Gardener database.